so welcome everybody. Thank you for tuning in with me. I know that you're probably all busy, so I will make sure to not waste your time and to give you as much information as possible in this video slash webinar. So I'm going to run over many things today. So mainly I want to talk about the 3 steps that are very, very important for you to follow to actually become a profitable trader. And I will also talk about 5 trading tips that can potentially really change your game and help you a lot in your journey. Things that I'm personally following, things that I do for myself, for my trading, and that I also teach for my students. So I'm going to run over all these tips, these steps to follow, and also a little bit about my story, so you guys will understand how everything started and all of these things. So let me just switch the screen. All right, we have this. I think it's here. All right, perfect. All right, so the webinar today will be about how to become a profitable trader. As you guys know, I'm trading mainly the Forex market, but I'm also trading the stock market, a little bit more investing, and also trading the crypto market. So what I'm about to teach you guys tonight and share with you my knowledge and all of these things, it's not only applicable when it comes to Forex. You can apply this knowledge and what I'm going to teach you also in the stock market and the crypto market or any type of market. So it's really things that will work, whatever things that you want to trade for. So it's definitely good information for anybody who's looking to get involved into trading. Also, just before I start, at the end of the webinar, I will make sure to answer you guys' questions. So if you have any questions, I highly suggest you to write them down below, and I will answer all of them at the end of the webinar. Last thing before I start, take notes, guys. Take notes during this webinar. As human, we forget about 80% of what we hear on a daily basis. So if you do not take notes from this webinar, you're likely going to forget a big part of it. So I highly suggest you as well to take notes of the live, because I'm not doing that type of live often, as you can see. If you go on my YouTube channel, you will see that there's 2 other live that are similar to this. It was more just hanging out. Now this is a really more presentation that I did a little PowerPoint like this. But I'm not doing that type of things very often, because normally it's reserved for my students. So you definitely have a chance now to take opportunity of this. Alright, so let's start. Let's not waste more time. First thing first, before I jump into the concepts of trading and all of these things, I want to give you guys a little bit and tell you a little bit more about myself, my story, because you may not know me that well. I don't post all my life on social media, so I want to explain you, where I come from, how did I start trading, and all of these things, and I hope that it will also inspire you to maybe follow the same steps as me. So, I grew up in Quebec. I'm still living there. I've had a pretty normal childhood, nothing really crazy. I'm not from a poor family, but I'm not also from a rich family, so more like middle class. So as a kid, and I think you guys will be able to relate about this, as a kid, when you're not growing up around things that you see in movies, so it's the case for most of us. I was dreaming about traveling the world, having a big nice car, a nice house, and all of these things. And I was dreaming about this, and that was what really was going on my mind. So from an early age, I've always been someone looking for a wealthy lifestyle. And what I mean by wealthy lifestyle, it's not just about the money, the car, the jewelry, the big mansions and all of these things. For me, wealthy lifestyle is more, traveling, having time to spend with your family, having a lot of freedom. So all of these things, they are all into what I call a wealthy lifestyle. So that is personally my goal. It may be different for you. It doesn't really matter. But, for me, that's what I wanted. And when I was young, I was searching and for a way to actually, get that lifestyle and get that all these things that I wanted. And so from an early age, I've always been someone looking for opportunities. If you know a little bit about my story, there's more about this on the website as well of my Forex course. Well, I say Forex, but trading course in general. But I started making money online about 12, 13 years old. So I started really, really young doing this, but I really found my way and found what I really like and what I enjoy the most doing about 2 or 3 years ago. So my story when it comes to trading started about 2 or 3 years ago. Well, it's more about 3 years ago, and it started in high school. So at the time I was still going in high school. This is the high school I went to. I did a little presentation, nothing crazy, but I wanted to have something to show you. So this is my high school that I went to, Collège François de Laval. It's in Quebec, and I went to this school, and this is where my trading journey began. So about 3 years ago, one of my friends started to talk with me about trading. He was more involved into the stock market, but he was showing me, his chart, what he was doing, what he was investing on, and I was very interested into this. And I've always been someone, like I said, looking for opportunity and things like that. So when he started talking about me, about all these financial markets and things like that, I was really into it, and I was really captivated by that. So after that he introduced me to that, I started learning, searching around, looking around, doing everything that I could to learn this skill set and to actually become a trader myself. So for a few months I did read books, looking at videos, watching videos, taking notes, trying different trades on the chart, looking at all these charts at the same time, and I was really not making any progress. After a few months I still couldn't understand what was happening on the chart because I just didn't have the proper information that was coming onto me. And so that's really when I realized that having a mentor or someone that can teach you this skill, or not only this skill, this can also apply to any type of things that you do in your life, but having someone who can teach you is always the best way to go. That is how we learn the best. So this is when I really started looking for a mentor. So I remember that this is a funny story. I went to the school and I was asking people who were working in school if they knew someone that they could help me with learn this skill set, and I stumbled into a activity that the school was giving, which was to meet once a month with someone who was working at a bank, and this person was going to teach us about the stock market, how it works, and all of these things. So I was like, great, I found my first mentor. So my first mentor, unfortunately I cannot I cannot say publicly his name or put a picture. I have him, but I want to keep his privacy, so unfortunately you don't see him, but it's not too big of a deal. So I started learning with him and about trading. It was more investing because he himself is managing portfolios of people, but it's more for the long term. So it was more about investing, but this is really with my first mentor when I really got into it, when I really said okay, I really like this, I want to pursue this, and I'm going to study this as much as I can. So that was about 2.5 years ago. So I was already, studying the chart for a few months, and now I found my first mentor. So this is when really everything started to take off, that I got more information about the market, starting to understand more really what was happening on the chart. And this is when I started to actually trade Forex, because like I said, at first I was more into investing for the long term because that was what my mentor was doing. But after I decided to start trading Forex. Why Forex? Well, there's many reasons now that I can say why I choose Forex, but at that time, there's not many reasons. I just found the Forex market and I was like, cool, it seems interesting. So for those who don't have many knowledge or experience about the market, what Forex is, it's really simple. So it's a foreign exchange market. So it's basically the market where every day there is currency exchange one to the another. So let's say that, for example, you live in Quebec, where I am, and you want to travel to Europe. So you have to exchange your Canadian dollar to euros. And if you do this and hold the euros for a certain period of time, the exchange rate will fluctuate, and when you will do the exchange back, when you will trade your money back for Canadian dollar, for example, you will not have exactly the same amount of money that you had before because of the fluctuation of the exchange rate. So that is what trading Forex is. You're basically exchanging one currency to another, and you can make either a profit or a losses from that. So that's basically what I'm doing. And how do I take my decision and things like that? It's not random. It's based on mainly the technical analysis. So looking at the chart in itself of the exchange rate and deciding when I think that it's going upside or downside. And there's rules and ways that you can follow that can maximize your chance of actually working. So that's pretty much what Forex trading is. So it's kind of similar to the Forex, to the stock market, but instead of buying a stock from a company, you're exchanging one currency to another. So this is when I got into Forex. And so I got, I started learning more and more and more into this. And then I started making great profits, actually. I started being more consistent. It was about 1 year after that I, started from scratch. So I started being more consistent, making good profits on demo, not with real money. At the time I was still trading in demo. And after when my last year of high school started, so nearly 2 years ago now, I started to trade live with real money. And, I also was making good profits. So something funny happened about that time, and that will lead me to ReversalMaster. So basically when I was in school, and that was also the time around where I started posting more on social media. So people in school knew what I was doing, that I was trading and all of these things. And so people after, they started in school, they were like, oh, can you teach me? Can you help me? I also want to start to make money. So at first I was like, no, not really. I'm not looking to, I just don't want to spend my time, teaching people this. That was not really just something I had in my head. And one of my good friends one day came to me and he asked me, to learn this skill also. So I decided, why not? Why not try and teach him what I know? So we spent a lot of time together. I showed him a lot of things about the market. He's maybe also on the webinar tonight. Yeah, there will be a recording, but I'm not sure if I think it will work. Oh no, I didn't make a webinar yesterday. This is the webinar. This is the only webinar. So what I was saying is that I was starting to help him grow his account and things like that to learn the skill set. And after a few months, he was making good profits on demo. He was not trading live, but he was already making good profits on demo. And he started trading live also after, and he started making profits. So it's at that time where I realized that, okay, now not only do I have the skill set to trade for myself, but I can also teach other people, what I know. So this is when I really add in that my idea to start ReversalMaster, which is my own trading course, popped in my head. So this is what I did. I started ReversalMaster. By the way, guys, this is not, I don't want to spend too much time on my course in itself. You guys know that I have this course, so if you want to, learn about this, you can just go on the website of the course and you'll see that. But, and this is also where basically I was talking about when I started making money when I was younger. But basically, here we have my website, and this is when I decided with my friends that I wanted to, start teaching people, because I realized that I was capable of doing this. So this is when I started ReversalMaster, and after, I was still making good profits, still going to school at that time, and I was trading in class. And this is where it gets interesting. Let me just go back to the presentation, where it is here. Alright, so this is where it started to become very interesting. Why? It's because I was trading in class. I was making good profits. Now I was running my business, trying to grow my social media. I was doing all these things, and I was trading in class. And my teachers were kind of upset about it, which I can understand now, of course, because, it's not maybe what is the most respectful thing to do. But I was trading in class, just because I like it so much. I was making good profits, so I wanted to be literally 20, 4 hours on the chart. And if I don't know if there's somebody from my high school here on the webinar tonight or that is watching the video, but anybody that went to my high school with me can confirm this. I was literally upset by the fact that my teachers didn't want me to trade, because I was literally so attracted by trading. Like, I was insanely going always on the chart, always looking at chart, always taking trades and all of these things. I was so involved into this. Like, every time that the bell rang, I was taking my phone looking at charts, and even during the class I was trading, and my teachers were kind of upset about it. But you know, I continued doing this. I didn't really pay much attention, but you know, they were not also that upset about it, because I've always have pretty good grades at school. So you know, they were not that upset since I was still doing well in school. But at the same time, you know, I understand why they were kind of upset. So you know, I was doing that, and one day I was in class, and someone who was working in school come in class, and he's like, "Anthony, you have to go to the principal office after your class." And he said that in front of everybody. So I was kind of freaking out, to be honest, because yeah, you can confirm that. So I was kind of very scared, because you know, when someone comes and tells you to go to the principal office, it's usually not because they want to give you flowers, right? It's usually more even something that will happen negative. So I was kind of scared, and everybody in school, they were like, "Oh, you're getting kicked out. You cannot use your phone, your laptop." You know, people were making these theories and all of these things, and I myself was kind of, you know, really scared about that, because I didn't want to, you know, get kicked out of the school or things like that. Especially it was my last year in this school, so I was like, okay, please let me go there. So after the class, I go there really scared. You know, I enter the office, and there's the principal there in his big office. So I'm there, and I'm like, "Hey, mister," and he's like, "Hey, Anthony, can you sit down, please? I have to talk to you." So I just when I enter, I'm already like freaking out. So after, he turns to me and he says, "Listen, I talked to your teachers, and I know what you're doing in class. I know that you're not paying attention, that you're always on your computer doing this market Forex thing." So I was like, yeah, it's kind of true, I'm doing that. And now, this is when it gets interesting. He said something that I will never thought he would have said. Instead of saying something negative, he said, "I'm very proud of you. I see that you still have good grades, and that at the same time you're following your dreams. Of course, I want you to stop trading in class because it's not respectful for your teachers, but I'm actually really impressed by what you're doing." So when he said that, I was like, damn, like, that's crazy. So after that, he says, "I know someone who went to our school about 10-15 years ago, who's now working at a major bank here in Canada. Would you like to meet him?" And in my head, I was like, another mentor, my second mentor. So I was like literally freaking out in my head, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that would be nice." But you know, I was just so excited about this. So the principal of our school put me in contact with my second mentor, which unfortunately I also don't have. Well, I have a picture of him, and some people know who it is, because I already, you know, did a few snapshots and things like that with him. But I don't want to rob his identity right here. I want to keep this private, you know, just to respect him. So this is when I met my second mentor. And my second mentor, it's really with him that everything, you know, even went to the next level, I will say. Because with him, this is when I went to Montreal about a year ago. If you've been following me now since, you know, 2016 or 17, you know that I went to Montreal to meet what became the person that became my third mentor. And so this is where I made all my connections in the big trading world. So we went to the Caisse et Dépôt et Placement du Québec, which is basically the biggest mutual fund in Canada, right? So this is crazy big, and this is where I really went, like right here in this yellow space. This is where the trading room is. So I went there, and this is where I met my third mentor. So and you know, I met him because of my second mentor, so I'm really grateful of that. And this is where I met my third mentor, who is managing that $250 billion. Yes, you heard that right, $250 billion, not million, $billion. So it's crazy big. So I went there and, you know, I sat with him and we talked for a while, and you know, we talked, and one thing that happened and that really like clicked in my mind, and that really like put me into this mindset of like, okay, this is really the path that I want to take. I know that I'm doing the right thing. Is that I cannot say his name also. I would like to, but I cannot, because he's this is even like the other one is because I want to respect them, but this one is I just don't have the right to say yes, because sometimes someone who's managing $250 billion, it's a lot. So I go there, I sat with him, and we talked for a while, and he pulled up a chart on the screen. So, you know, he was showing me his screens, the trades that he take, how he analyzed the charts a little bit, and after he pulls up a chart in front of me. So I was like, okay, that's cool, and he says something that scared me so much. He was like, Anthony, I want you to show me how would you analyze this chart. So I was like, oh my god, alright, so I start, you know, taking the mouse, doing, you know, putting my lines, my Fibonacci, all of these trading tools on the chart, and, you know, really wishing that it was something great that I was doing. And after I turned to him and I was like, okay, I think it's going to drop more because of this, that, the other. And he looked at me and he's like, yeah, that's really good, that's really good. And I was like, holy crap, this is crazy, because I realized at that time that I was trading very similar to the biggest, you know, portfolio and hedge fund manager in Canada. Like, this is crazy big. So this is really when I gained a lot of confidence also about myself, because now I knew that, you know, what I was trading and the strategy that I was using and things like that were actually working. So this is pretty much how it went. Here you can see me in the trading room of RBC, which is the biggest bank in Canada. So here it's the trading room. It's somewhere that normally you cannot access because obviously it's private. And it's funny, like when you enter in the bank, there's like 5 big ass dudes with guns and things like that to protect the bank. So you're like, oh, okay, let's stay calm, right? So this is me about over a year ago now, when we visited the bank, the RBC trading room. And after that, well, you guys know the rest of the story now. So I'm still trading, I'm still teaching my students through my course and all of these things. So this is pretty much how everything started for me. And if I think that there's 3 lessons that you can learn from my story, I will say number 1 will be to not give a shit. And sorry for my language, guys, but I want you to understand how important it is. Not give a shit about what other people think of you. You know, when I was trading in school, always, you know, carrying my computer with me, I was looking like a freaking weirdo. Like, people thought I was insane, like psycho, doing all of these things. And, you know, people were laughing at me, criticizing me, and all of these things. Guys, don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to the people who hate on you. If they hate on you, they're already behind you, so you don't have to worry about them. So I think that is my first tip for you. Just, you know, keep focusing on yourself, keep focusing on what you want to do. Second thing I think that you can learn from that is that you need mentors. Mentors are what shape your life, shape your destiny. I'm going to talk further into this concept later on, but it's really important. So find yourself mentors. And the third thing I would say is never give up. Right, guys? If right now you're struggling, whether it's in trading or just in, you know, in your finance in general, guys, do not give up. I know what it's like. I've been in your feet before. You know, like I said, I don't come from a rich family, from a just average middle class family. And in my first like 3-4 months of trading, I had no results at all. I didn't even know what was happening. So guys, like, I'm not saying this to hype you or to impress you or whatever, but I want to impress upon you what is actually possible if, you know, you follow your heart, you follow your dreams, and you do things for the right reason. So let's close my story. I think you guys now want to hear more about, you know, the knowledge and, you know, really the tips on how to start doing this and why is this so powerful of a thing to learn. So before I go into the more advanced stuff, so the steps to follow and the trading tips, I want just to give you guys really quickly 5 reasons why I think this is so powerful. So number one, you can make money from anywhere in the world. And this is so true. Like I can trade from my computer or even my phone. Like sometimes I will just have my phone with me and carry it with me, and I can manage my trade through my phone. So you can literally, in the sense of the word, trading from anywhere in the world, and you can make money from anywhere in the world, and that gives you a lot of freedom, my friend, because you don't have to stick around a office or things like that. You can literally do this in the car, at the gym, in the restaurant, at school, wherever you are. So first thing, I think, why is this so good of a skill to learn? You can make money from anywhere in the world. Second thing, it does not require a lot of capital. Now I want to spend more time on this one because I don't want you guys to have false hope. It's true that it doesn't take a huge capital to start, but at the same time, do not start trading if you only have few $100. I made this mistake when I started trading live, and I quickly realized that you cannot grow really big an account if you just start with a very small capital. Like, of course, in terms of, for example, of percentage, you can make a lot. Like you can make 100% in your year, but it will still be like $500. So if you don't have at least a consistent capital to start with, well, then it's maybe not the right thing for you. So you can and you can build up your capital with time. So you can start with small money. That's what I did, but it's not the best. So when you have a very small account, I would say do not expect and do not hope that it will grow into a multi-million-dollar account. But one thing that you can hope definitely is that you will learn a lot from that, and after, when you will have more money, you will be able to continue and develop your skill, and after make more money when you have a bigger capital. The possibilities are endless. Guys, I don't know if you know, but Forex, and I'll stick to Forex because this is the main market that I'm trading, but Forex is a $5.3 trillion a day market. I don't know if you realize how big this is, but it's the biggest market. It's more than 2 times bigger than the stock market. So the possibilities are really endless. I don't know if you guys know who George Soros is, but he's basically an entrepreneur and also a trader. And in one night, he made $1 billion profit. Not income, not revenue, profit. He made $1 billion profit in one night. And he's worth like 22 billion or 25, something like this. So guys, when I say that the possibilities are endless, it's real. Like, they're really endless. Now, I'm not saying that everybody will make billions or even millions, because it's really hard. It's not an easy skill to learn. It really takes a lot of work, patience, effort, and all of these things. But if you put your mind into it, if you put efforts in this, I'm telling you guys, this is possible, and this can grow into something really, really, really big. Fourth thing, you are always sure to have at least one source of income, and this is so true, guys, because I think that in the next centuries, the system that we live in, the capitalist system that most country are in, is not going to change. Even though there's cryptos, and our people think that cryptos is the next huge thing. Well, it's a huge thing, but it's not going to change everything about our system and about how everything works. So you're always sure, and even if it does, well, you still have the skill to trade cryptos, right? So even if cryptos take over the world, you will still be able to make money. So you are always sure to have one source of income. Why? Because when you learn the skill, it's in your mind. Nobody can take that away from you. So even if you don't have a job, well, you still have your mind to think, and you can always make money from that. So you're always sure to have one source of income. Guys, the average millionaire has over 7 sources of income. So there it is. It is your first one. Fifth, money works for you instead of you working for your money. Yes, guys, this is one of the most important things. Like, Warren Buffett once said something really interesting about this. And Warren Buffett, if you know, he's like in the top 10 richest men in the world. So he said that if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you are going to work until the day that you die. So this is a little bit metaphoric, right? But you know, it's kind of true in the same time. So you need to figure out how to make your money work for you instead of you working for your money. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for the 5 reasons why I think this is worth to learn. So I don't want to spend, you know, too much time on this as well. So now let's go on to what you guys want to hear, which is how to actually start doing this. What are the steps that you need to follow and to, you know, become a good trader, become someone that can make profit on that type of markets, whether it's crypto, Forex, stock, whatever it is. It will work on any type of market. So what are the steps that you need to follow? Just before I start, I want to say that these are not only my personal steps, even though this is what I kind of followed, but this is also the steps that I, when I studied all the successful traders, that most of them followed, kind of the same step. So there's basically 3 steps that you guys will need to follow and in order. This is really important. You'll understand why in order, but this is really important. So let's continue. First, oh no, this is wrong. Okay, sorry. This is not what I wanted to talk about right now. Let me just, okay, yeah. So I'll switch on. I don't need the PowerPoint right now because I don't have a PowerPoint for this. So let me just change into this. All right, perfect. So let's continue. And because what was next on the PowerPoint are the 5 trading tips that I want to give you guys, but I'll save that for the end. So now, how to start trading and how does it work and all of these things. So first thing first, the first steps that you need to take is find a mentor, guys. Find a mentor. Like, I cannot tell this enough, and people, you know, can argue with me as long as they want, but this is the most important thing. Find a mentor, and a mentor can take many shapes. It can be a book, it can be a course, it can be YouTube videos, it can be seminars, in-person mentor, whatever it is. But find yourself a mentor. Learn from someone who already has the results that you want. Guys, just to give you a little statistics about trading that I think is just so powerful. 9 people out of 10 lose money when they trade. 9 people out of 10. So you cannot just go there and expect to make money and win in this industry by just, you know, learning this, that, the other from so many people, just, you know, hanging around the chart. No! Find a mentor. Focus, learn one strategy, learn one way to trade, and this is really how you will be able to immerse yourself into this industry and start making profit. Guys, you cannot expect to win in this industry if you don't have mentors, if you don't learn from somebody else who is already more successful than you. And so you know, the power of having a mentor is also to cut your learning curve. Like, if you remember, and if we take my story, you know, I said earlier that I spent about 3-4 months to learn and just by myself, and didn't learn much. So guys, I would have saved 3 or 4 months of my life if I already had found a mentor in the beginning. So your mentors will be able to help you cut your learning curve and make you learn things faster, to help you grow faster into this. So yes, finding a mentor is so important. So that will be the first steps that I will recommend you. And you know, now in this webinar we're talking about trading, but this also can be applied to many other things. Sport, singing, artists, whatever you're doing, you need to find yourself a mentor, someone that you can learn from. Alright, that was my my first steps that you need to follow. Now, second one, learn the skill, but do not practice yet. I know it sounds a little controversial and weird, but let me explain you what I mean by that. So, learn the skill set. Guys, study, 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 study. You need to study as much as possible. Now, since I'm now being able to make profits and, you know, I'm doing good, I'm not studying as intensively as I was 1 year or 2 years ago, but I'm still studying hard. But you know, 2 years ago I was studying about, well, when I had school I tried to study about 3 to 4 hours every day, and when I didn't have school I was studying about 12 hours per day. So guys, don't believe the bull crap that you hear on the internet. This is not something that is that easy to learn. Like, I love to say this, but you know, trading is simple when you actually know how it works, but it's not the easiest skill to learn. Definitely not. You will need to put a lot of time into this. And so the second step, once you have a mentor, is study them, study everything that they do. And I'm not just even talking about the trading aspect. Study their life, how they think, how they act, how they welcome other people, how they live, their mindset, everything that they do. Guys, you need to immerse yourself into somebody who is successful. One of my favorite quotes of probably all time from Warren Buffett, he said something very interesting. He said, smart people learn from their mistakes, but wise people and geniuses learn from other people's mistakes. So guys, you need to learn from other people's mistakes, and you can also learn from my mistakes. Like I told you, at first I was not learning from a mentor, and that cost me a waste of 3-4 months of learning. So definitely learn from my mistakes, and don't do the same mistakes over and over again. So this is what I mean by studying. And one thing I want to add to this is the power of your subconscious mind. So basically in your mind you have two parts. You have the conscious mind and you have the subconscious mind. And if you study psychology, these are the things that you will learn. But most of our actions that we take on a day-to-day basis are based off our subconscious mind. It's mostly because of what we have in your subconscious mind that we do what we do on a daily basis. And your subconscious mind, it's like the part that motivates your actions, but at the same time you don't really realize that it's because of that. So it's like your deepest part of your mind, and this is the most powerful one. So you need to learn this skill set as much as that it will go into your subconscious mind, and that you will live like this, and that you will act upon this, and that you will do things based out of what you know into your subconscious mind. So that's why you need to study very hard, especially in the beginning, because you need to make all of these information go into your subconscious mind. And guys, another quote that I really like, one of my mentors once said, it's not the people who are working the hardest that makes the most money, it's the people who are working the smartest. And what he meant by that was that, if you study the most successful people in the world, and when I say successful, it doesn't just mean money, right? It can mean also health, wealth, love, happiness, freedom, all of these things. So when you study somebody who is successful, you will see inside of them how dedicated they are, and you will be able to learn a lot from that. So study smart people. That will be my second recommendation, and also just study the market in general. So third step, now that you have your mentor, you study the market. Now third step is to practice. So one thing that I see people doing very, very, very often, and I really want you guys to take note and to remember this, because I see so many people making this mistake, and I also made this mistake myself, right? So learn from that as well. So what I see people doing is, they start to trade, they open their their account, they're just like few weeks into trading, and they're already trading with a demo account. Like I see people, they've been trading for like 2 days, and they're on MetaTrader 4, and they're like, hey Anthony, look, I made $1,000 on demo account. Look at my trades, look at my analysis. And I'm like, bro, you're wasting your time. You're just wasting your time. Like, let me take you back, and let's think about why are we using a demo account? Why a demo account? Which is, by the way, if you don't know, a demo account is that you can trade on the real markets, but with like demo money, with fake money. So this allows you to practice. So why is it useful to practice on a demo account? And the answer is, there's only one answer, is to practice a strategy that you learned before, to see if you are able to make consistent profit on the market. So what I see people doing, they start to learn, they've been into this for, days or a few weeks, and they're already, trying to trade it. Guys, it's not the right way to do it. Don't start trading with a demo account after just a few days or a few weeks. You're just wasting your time, because the purpose of having an account like this is for you to practice a strategy. So if you don't know yet a strategy, if you don't know yet what is going on the charts, if you don't know yet how to trade, then you're just wasting your time with a demo account. So this is really big. I see a lot of people making this mistake. Guys, you need to study before actually practice. So let me just check. I don't want to forget anything. Okay, yeah, one last thing I want to add about this is that, you know, people often ask me then, how long should they stick to a demo account? And once again, there's only one answer to that. You stick to a demo account as long as you're not profitable. You know, people are not making profits on demo account, and they will come to me and they're like, do you think I'm ready to trade live? No, you're not. You need to start making profit on demo account and being consistent. Guys, this is the most important thing, being consistent, because so many times I'll see people, one day they will make 2,000, the other day they will lose 2,000, after they will make 1,000, lose 2,000, 4,000, all of these numbers, or it can be smaller number, it doesn't matter, but the point is you need to be consistent with your wins and with your losses, because this is how in the long run you will be able to make profits. Like, it's funny, sometimes I'll see people jumping on social media, they will post a photo of their profits, which is most of the time demo, but you know, I don't want to jump into this, and I'm not trying to bring anybody else down. I'm just saying that there's a lot of scammers inside this industry, sadly, but you know, it's part of this. So they will post their profit and they will make like 5,000, and after I don't see them for weeks, and 1 week later they're like on Facebook and they're like, hey, now I make 2,000. But guys, this, even if this is real money, which it can be, the goal of a trader is to be consistent, to be able to make consistent profit day after day. Well, not day after day, because you're not going to make profits every day. Sorry, my mistake here. Not day after day, but you know, you need to months after months be able to make consistent profit, and this is all on the long run. You will be able to grow your account into something that is worth trading with. So yeah, these will be the 3 steps that I will recommend you guys to follow in order. So first steps, find yourself a mentor, whatever it is, book, seminar, videos, all of these things. Second of all, learn the skill set and then apply the knowledge. And once you have completed these 3 steps, and now that you can make consistent profit on the market, this is when you are going to be able to start trading and make money. So let me just jump back on the screen. Alright, so now, whoops. Okay, so now let me run over 5 trading tips I have for you guys, and this will go into more deep stuff. So if you are a complete beginner on trading, you can still listen, and I'm sure that you still learn a lot of things. But you know, it will be a little more advanced, which I think is good for you guys who also already are into this industry. So 5 trading tips I want to give you guys, and after we're going to take a few questions and we'll close it up. I don't want to extend this into something too long, right? I value your time. I know that you're probably also just as busy as me, so this is why I'm also talking fast, because I want to you know, not extend this into a 2-3 hours webinar. So 5 important tips for you guys to become a profitable trader. First thing first, have the right psychology. And I want to spend a lot of time on this one because it's so important. As you guys know, I already talked a little bit about that, because you know, about the subconscious mind and things like that, but I'll get more into deep right here. So most people, they will lose money on the market, not because that their analysis are wrong, not because they don't have a good strategy, not because, you know, they didn't enter at the right time. Most people will end up losing money on the market because they are not able to keep their emotions away off of the charts, right? You need to have a very strong psychology when it comes to trading. And most people, this is where they are struggling, because they will let their emotions take a big part away of them. And after, what will happen? They will not follow their strategy, take emotion decision based off of their emotions, and they will just do like weird things and take bad decisions. And the reason for that is not because they're a bad trader or that they don't understand the market. It's really just because they are not able to control themselves. And so this also relate to, you know, working on yourself as a person, which is why I believe that especially in this industry, personal development is so important. Guys, read books, take care of your body, eat well, sleep well, do sports, like all of these things. Like, take care of yourself. And if you take care of yourself, if you're healthy, your business will be healthy, your trading will be healthy. So control your emotions, guys. Have a strong psychology. And there's basically two ways that I found that are working the best for most people to have a better psychology. So the first way will be to work on yourself, like I just said. And the second way that you need to, and the second thing that you need to do to have a good psychology is strong mental, is to have a proper risk management. And that leads me to the second trading tips for you guys tonight, which is risk management. So what is risk management? So there's ways that you can play with your risk management, and it's basically, your risk management is how you will manage your money and how you will manage your risk on the market. So for example, some people will say, okay, I just want to risk 1% of the total of my capital on this trade. And that's the rule that they will follow on each and every single trade. So that is what we call risk management. And the reason why I say that it is highly correlated with your psychology is because if you don't have a good risk management, you're likely going to lose your money. Because every single trader, good traders, professional, have a very strict risk management. Sorry guys, I'm losing my voice a little bit. Guys, every good traders have a risk management, so you need to follow a good risk management. And you know, there's multiple ways that you can do this. There's also mathematical formula that can help you have a good risk management. This is one of the topics that I talk a lot about in my trading course to help my students have a good risk management. Because guys, if you have a good risk management, you cannot lose all your money. And you know, sometimes I'll see people, and this is one of the most common questions I'll get, like, is trading risky? Is it risky to actually start trading like this? And the answer is, it's risky in a sense, but in another sense, it's not really risky. So what I mean by that, yes, it's risky because, sorry guys, because yes, it's risky because it's just like any other type of investment, right? Just like all the investments that you will make in your life, it's risky. Even if we don't talk money-wise, if, for example, you invest time into a relationship, well, it's kind of risky because you're risking your time. You may lose your time if the relationship ends up, and if the person ends up betraying you, right? So every decision that you will take in your life has some type of risk. So of course, trading has also some types of risk, but at the same time, it's not that risky, because if you have a good risk management, if on every single trade that you take, you always risk the same amount of money, and it's a very small amount compared to your capital, then it's not that risky. Like, you cannot blow your account. Like, every time I see somebody blowing up their account, it's because they are not following a good risk management. They don't have a risk management, and if you have a good one, it's mathematically impossible to blow up your account, because you have a stop loss, something that will cut your losses if the market drops, for example, and these losses will be just 1%. So you cannot mathematically blow up your account, right? So if you have a good risk management, there is not that much risk involved into trading. So this is pretty much why it is so important to have a good risk management. And by having a good risk management, you will be able to manage your emotion way better, because you know, and you can go to sleep fine, because you know that, you know, and this will also go into your subconscious mind over time, but you will know deep down that even if it gets to your stop loss, you're risking, I don't know, 0.5, 1 or 2% of your account, which is very small. So you have no worries, and that gives you way less stress, and this is so important as a trader. So yeah, have a very, very good risk management and never break your rules according to that. Well, never break your trading rules in general, but especially your risk management. This is so important. Alright, number 3. Have a good risk-reward ratio. So what is a risk-reward ratio? It's basically how much money you are going to lose on one trade, potentially, versus how much money you are going to potentially make on this trade. So if, for example, I have a risk-reward ratio of 5-to-1, it means that on a trade I can, for example, make 50 bucks and only lose 10 bucks. So your risk reward is basically, you know, how big your wins are compared to your losses. And this is the one thing you need to focus on as a trader, and to try to have a better risk reward. One mistake that I see people making very often, and that people focus on, and it's just not the right thing to focus on, is to have a better win-lose ratio. Because a better win-lose ratio, first of all, it's really hard to optimize that, because there's not a single strategy that will win 100% of the time, or even 90 or even 80% of the time. It just doesn't exist. So you need to not focus on how many trades you win versus how many trades you lose. You need to focus on how big your wins are compared to your losses. And if I can give you just a very powerful example of this, you know, there's a trader named Richard, I forgot his last name, but whatever. There's a trader that, you know, he's pretty well known, and he had a win-lose ratio of 5%. 5%, guys. So it means that on 100 trades, he was winning only 5 trades. But when he was winning, his win were so much bigger than his loss that he ended up making $400 million profit trading. So this just goes to show you how much your risk reward is important and how little your win-lose ratio is important. That's what people want you to believe, because it looks good, right? Like if you go to somebody Instagram and in their bio they're like, oh, I have a 80% win-lose ratio, like it looks good, like you're like, oh wow, that's so good. But guys, first of all, a win-lose ratio as high as, yeah, Richard Dennis, exactly, thank you. So a win-lose ratio as high as this, first of all, does not exist, and second of all, that's not how you're going to make money. Even if that's something, even if that's a number that you can achieve, that is not how you're going to make money. You need to have a strong risk-reward ratio and not really care about the win-lose ratio. It's not really something that is important in your trading. So let's continue. Alright, understand wave theory. Now I'm getting into the charts right now, so let's switch up to the charts. So here we have all my charts, so you guys will also see all my analysis on the pairs that I'm going through and things like that. So I think that this will be very interesting. So let me guys give you a clear understanding of what wave theory is. So wave theory is a concept that I trade according to on the market. This is not that complex, like the concept in itself is not really complex to understand, but there's many different patterns that are playing according to this concept. So this is where it will get a lot more hard and deeper. I'm not going to run over all of these patterns because these information and that knowledge is reserved only for my students, but I'm still going to give you guys a clear understanding of how actually the market moves, so you will be able after to start studying that. So Let me take a random chart, a chart that I don't have many tools on. Okay, we can take this one. And let's go on the monthly or the weekly, first of all. Alright, so when you look at this chart, right, what wave theory is, and you will learn what it is by me showing you there. Wave theory, it's basically how the market moves, and this does not only apply to Forex, it also does apply to any other type of market. And so this is why, you know, I say that you can trade any type of market like you want to, because all charts move the same way. Like I told you guys before, I'm trading Forex, crypto, and also investing into the stock market, and all of these three, I'm doing it exactly the same way. So you can trade any type of market the exactly same way. So when you look at a chart, right, I think all of you guys will be able to see the same thing as me, which is the chart is moving like a wave, right? Look at this. This is making waves, right? I think you can all see that. This is making waves. So the chart is moving in terms of wave. And if you cannot see that, there is a problem, right? If you're just starting out trading, don't worry, because like I said, I'm getting a little more advanced here. So if you don't understand fully everything what I'm saying right now, it's not a problem, don't worry. So this is more for the people who already know a little bit about trading. So the market is moving according waves. So once you know that, this is when you will be able to trade these waves. You know, you can trade this, you can trade this, you can trade this. All these moves that are going really fast and really strong are what we call impulsive move. So there's basically two types of movement that you can get on the chart. So the first one is a impulsive move. So as you guys can see, this is an impulse, this is an impulse, this is an impulse, this is an impulse, this is an impulse. So all of the moves that are going pretty strong and pretty fast, this is what we call the impulsive move. And after that you get an impulsive move, you will get a correction. So you have your impulse, you have your correction, which is a movement that goes against the side of your impulse, but it's a lot slower. It's yeah, can I say that? Yeah, it's more slowly. Yeah, I think I can say it. So it's more slowly. So you have your impulse, you have your corrections, you have your impulse, you have your corrections, you will have an impulse. You have an impulse, you have a corrections, you have an impulse. You have your corrections, you have an impulse. You have an impulse, you have a correction, you have an impulse. Guys, all markets move like this. You either are inside of an impulse or a correction. They are the only thing that does exist on the market. There's nothing else. And so why is this so powerful? What I'm saying right now is because once you understand all these impulsive and these corrections are working, and once you know all of the patterns, all the variation, and once you know how to trade them, then you can make money forever, guys, because all the markets, since the trading exists, they all move according to this. And like I said, I cannot go too much into deep into this, because normally even that type of information is reserved for my students. So I'm giving you guys a lot of information right here. I hope that you are taking notes of this, because normally this information is only reserved for my students. So this is why I don't want also to go too deep, but you know, I'm giving you at least the concept. So the reason why wave theory is working, there's many reasons. One is that it's how the big players are trading. So what I mean by that, and what I mean also by big players, basically big players, it's not just the bank. People think it's like, oh yeah, the hedge fund guy. No, it's not only that. There's more what I call big players, so people who make the market move. So we have the banks, we have the traders, we have the government, and also the big businesses. So for example, Apple makes the market moves. So people now, when I say that, they're like, what are you talking about? Let me explain you guys. It's pretty simple to understand. Why do Apple, Amazon, and all of these big corporations are also involved in trading? Well, let's think about it. If Apple, which is based in the US, wants to buy, for example, something in Europe, what they will have to do to complete the deal, they will have to take their USD money and exchange it into euros. So even a big corporation like Apple, they're also involved into Forex trading. So, and when Apple will decide to make these transactions, it's when we are in the corrections. So this is one reason why it works, and another reason why it works that I can tell you guys is that the market respects what I call the natural movement of the market. So what do I mean by the natural movement of the market is that there's something that we call a fractal, which is like a physical structure in the universe, but everything basically in life is around fractal. So the core concept of a fractal, what it is, and I'll try to make this as simple as possible because it's more advanced stuff right here, but I'll try to keep this as simple as possible. A fractal, basically, we can say something is impacted and has a fractal involved into it when it always repeats the same patterns over and over and over again, which is the case in trading. Even the monthly pattern, the weekly pattern, the daily pattern, you will see that it's the same pattern as the ones that you have on the 1 hour or even 1 minute charts. Everything repeats itself over and over and over and over again on the market, and it's always the same type of pattern. Now, like I said before, there's many variation of these patterns. So it's not just about learning, oh, there's an impulse, there's a correction, all right, I'm good. No. There's way more stuff to learn, and it's way more complicated than that. I'm just trying to make it simpler for you guys. But there's many patterns that the market will follow. And so when you know all of these patterns and understand that it always does repeat themselves over and over again, this is when you will be able to trade on the market and make profit. So yeah, just to show you one example right here, right? Like I said, I want to keep this not too complicated, but let's just look at this, right? We have an impulse, we have a 1, we have a 2, we have a 3, and now it's going down. So now let's look on the weekly, and here at the top, what do we have? We have an impulse, 1, 2, 3, it's going down. I can show you many more examples if you want, guys. Let's go on the 4 hour. And it also works, by the way, with the opposite way. So let's just take a look at this. For example, this one right here. We have an impulse. We have one wave. We have another wave. We have a third wave. It's going up. Here, it's a different pattern. Here at the top, it's also a different pattern. If we go back a little bit, you will see the same thing. Here, it's also a different pattern, but same thing. We have an impulse. We have a correction. We have an impulse. Same thing. Guys, it's always the same type of pattern that repeat themselves over and over and over again. So this is why it's crucial to understand wave theory. This is how the market moves, guys. This is how it works. Like, there's no other way. It's not, like what I'm saying here, it's not something that is subjective. It's not my opinion. It's how it works. This is working. Like, you guys can see that. So, guys, I don't want to go too complicated into this because I feel like I'll lose some of you. So I want to keep this pretty simple. But I think just with that, you already have a really good idea of how actually the market moves. Guys, you have an impulse, you have a correction, you have another impulse. It's always like this. So when you know when the correction is over, you will be able to trade the impulse. When you know when the correction is over, you will be able to trade this impulse. Like, guys, for example, the trade that I took this morning, if you follow me on social media, which I think you should do because I'm trying to post as much content and as much value as possible there. You saw this trade this morning that I took, and it's the same principle. We have an impulse, we have a correction, we have another impulse. I knew that the correction was over, so I took the trade right here, and now we're right here, and I'm in profit. So guys, this is just one more example to show you, but every market, every chart, every time frame, everything moves like that. So study this concept, study wave theory. This is so powerful. And if you don't study that, you will not make money on the market. Why? Because all the big players, all the hedge fund guys and these people, they're trading like that. Everybody, all the professionals are trading like that, and I know it. Why? Because I went to the biggest bank in Canada. I met with, the biggest hedge fund guys in Canada, people who are managing billions and billions. So I know that they're trading like this, right? So guys, study wave theory. This is how it works. Okay, last tips. Let's go back here. Last tip that I want to give you guys is find your own strategy, but trades like the bank. So it's a little bit like what I was saying here. So you need to trade like the biggest, the people who make the market move, because if you're on the same side and if you have the same analysis on of the people who make the market move, then you will be able to take the same trades as them, and that's how you will be able to make profit. Last thing, find your own strategy. What do I mean by that? Even if in, for example, my course, I teach my specific strategy. So how do I enter on the market? How do I take my trade? I always say to my students that they don't have to do 100% exactly everything like I am doing. Right? They need to trade according also to what they like, their personality, how they prefer to trade, and all of these things. So this is a very important distinction that you guys need to be able to make. So trade according to the same concept and the concept that I presented you before, because this is how it works. Like I said, it's not a subjective opinion, it's a fact. That's how the market moves. But you can trick and change a little bit the strategy. So the strategy, just to be clear, is really how you will take the trade. So you have the concept, which is wave theory. So you need to trade according to this because this is how it works. But you can change your strategy. So how you decide to enter on the market, and you can change that and apply this according to more your personality, your style of trading, and how you like to do things. So this is pretty much it, guys, for the webinar. I can stay, like I said before, a little longer. I can stay 5, 10, 15 minutes, as long as it takes to answer you guys' questions. So if you have any question, it's the time now to put them in the chat. So I see that there's already many questions, so I'll go also through that. But if you have any questions, whatever it is about me or the course or how trading works or anything like this, put your question in the chat and I'll try to answer as many as I can. And if I don't have the time to answer all of you guys' questions, you can then message me on social media and I will also answer you there. So let's look at some of you guys' questions. All right. Any tips on how to meet a mentor like this? Well, that's a really good question, by the way. I would say that how do you meet mentors and how do you meet people who have a lot of influence? It starts off with actually bringing them value. Like the worst thing that you can do when you actually go and meet a mentor is being like, okay, look at me, I'm already pretty good, I just want few of your advice. No. If you go meet a mentor, someone who's already successful at what you do, you shut your mouth, you put in the work, you listen to them, and you try to bring them as much value as I can. And it can be just little things, like bring them a nice coffee, like be kind with them, like offer them a book or whatever it is, guys. Just try to bring them value. Like, don't try to take everything and try more to give. So this is one tip I can give you about how to meet a mentor. And the other thing is just like go out, go to seminars, meet people, have connections, connect with people. Guys, now we have social medias. You can literally connect with everybody. Well, of course, not everyone will answer you on social media, but you know, you get what I'm saying. You can connect with most people. So go out there, meet people, connect with them, message them on social media, and you know, you'll be surprised how successful people, they like to help other people. Like, if you just message someone and be really nice, like, hey, I really like what you're doing, you inspire me in a lot of ways, you know, you can tell them a little bit about your story as well, and after you're just like, and me, just like 30 minutes at a coffee, I'll pay you the coffee, no problem, just to talk with you. Like, you will be surprised how many people will actually be down to do it, and they will be like, sure, let's meet, why not? So yeah, it starts with asking. So my 2 tips will be to bring them value and just ask. Have you heard of baby pips? Yes, I know what baby pips is. I would say it's good for beginners. It's good to learn, you know, the basics, how the market works, you know, how to place your stop loss, take profit, all the trading desk work, and all of these things. But I would say it's very limited, I think, and that I think that you cannot become very successful just with as little as that. So I would say it's good to start, but probably limited. How can we work at a bank like your turn mentor? This is a good question. So it's I'm not sure exactly about this, but I'll try to answer my best. But you need, for sure, you need to have studied in something around administration or finance or things like that. But I don't think that the banks, if I'm correct, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think that the banks actually hire people because of their diploma or things like that. I think there's other criteria that are also very important. So it's a good question, but I'm not fully sure of what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure that you need to have, you know, some background of finance and things like that, though. Do you program your subconscious mind daily? Yes, I do. And how do you do it? Reading, watching videos, listening to audios, guys. This is so big. This is crazy important. Listening to audiobooks, because it directly go there. Listening to audiobooks, guys. One tip I can give you, and this is a more personal tip, but every night before I go to sleep, I turn down my phone, I put an audio, and I listen to a book for at least 20 to 30 minutes every night. And I've been doing this for like nearly 2 years now. So this is very powerful. So listen to audiobooks, watch videos, read books, and all of these things, and that is how you will be able to get the important information going to your subconscious mind. Words of wisdom, thank you so much. I'm glad that you guys well, I hope that you guys got a lot of value from this talk. Like I said, I try to keep this condensed and give you as much value as I can. What will be a good amount to start for investing? I would say, I don't want to say a specific number because it's different from anybody. One rule that you need for sure to respect is only invest and risk what you can afford to lose. Because if you risk too much money and money that you don't want to lose, you will 100% surely get emotional about it. So you need to make sure that the money you have in your trading account, you can afford this to lose, and it will not affect your life. But you know, for a specific amount, it's really hard to tell. I would say not less than $1,000, and even $1,000, $2,000, guys, it's pretty small money. Like, and once again, I'm not saying this to discourage you or anything, but I'm not going to be the guy who tells you that, oh yeah, you can start with $100 and turn that into millions. Yeah, it's been done like 3 times in history. Okay, I'm maybe exaggerating a little bit, but guys, you get my point. Like, it's really hard. So you need to have a good capital. So I would say you can start with a small amount of money, but if you're doing that, you need to have a purpose of learning and not making much money. So I would say, you know, few thousands at least will be a good amount to start. Is wave theory the same as Elliott wave theory? This is a good question. I need to answer this because This is a mistake I see people very often making. So let me just drink a little bit. So guys, what is wave theory and what is Elliott wave theory? Okay, so let's break it down. Wave theory is the concept in itself, right? That's the concept. Elliott is just a trader who lived, I think, 150 years ago, something like that. And Elliott found patterns about wave theory. But saying that you're trading Elliott wave theory, it doesn't make sense. It's not even a thing. It's like if I was saying, oh yeah, I'm trading Anthony wave theory. No, you don't say that, right? So wave theory is the concept, and Elliott is just a normal trader who found certain pattern on the charts. And little side note, not everything that Elliott found is true. I see this mistake so many times, and people will place Elliott just beside God. They're like, oh my God, Elliott, the king of wave theory. Wow, what a genius. No, guys, this was found, and the pattern that he found, it was found over 1 century ago. So since that time, there has been other good traders who found other pattern. So do not mix wave theory and Elliott wave theory. So Elliott wave theory is, well, first of all, it's a little bit weird to say, but I get what people are saying when they say that. But Elliott wave theory is really what Elliott found on the chart, which is not even all true. Or personally, I don't consider everything that he said. And wave theory is the concept in itself. Do you always analyze on TradingView? Yeah, I'm using TradingView to analyze my chart mainly. Could you just take a look at 2-3 charts just to see the wave pattern? I can do another example if you want to. Why not? So let's go on USDN, for example. I'm just picking this up. Okay. So once again, I think you guys can see that how it moves in terms of waves, right? I think this is pretty simple to see. Right? So this is moving in terms of waves. So now, same thing here. You have your, we'll start later just to see the progression. You have your impulse, you have your correction, you have your impulse, you have your correction, you have your impulse, you have your correction, you have your impulse. And here, you are probably making a bigger correction because all of these small impulse, if you look at this, for example, on the monthly charts, in the end, it's only one impulse. And here you will get probably a bigger correction, and after another up, like this. One other example I want to show you guys, and it just popped into my head, this one. And this example will be shown to you. Oh, I'm not on the right one. This one. Yeah, alright. So this example is to show you guys how much it can be complicated and how much it's not as easy as it seems. So, oh no, wrong chart. Sorry guys. I need to go on GBP CAD. So, look at this, guys. Here you have your impulse. Here you have your correction. And here you have your impulse. Guys, I don't know if you realize, but we are on the weekly chart. So when you measure the correction, which is from here to here, it took 945 days, which is around 3 years. So your impulse happened in a matter of weeks, right? Few weeks. The correction stayed in there for 3 weeks. So if you think that all the time you will just get a nice little correction, a nice little piece like this, and it will go like a beautiful impulse and everything is always perfect. No. This is very hard to trade, right? Even for somebody like me. And why? Why is this hard to trade even for me? That type of pattern? It's because you can never predict how long a correction will take. You can predict how and when the correction is over to be able to trade this impulse, but you cannot predict how long the correction will take. Like for example, if we go back on USD yen, this correction as it is right now, we have this, it can do this, but it can also go back there, go back here, go back there, go back here, go back there, go back here, and I can do this a number of times, right? So the correction can take as long as it wants. So this is why it can get very, very complex. So I think that these two examples give you more information about all of this. Okay, let's continue the questions. Okay, there's a lot. Oh my god, there's a lot of questions. I don't know if I'll be able to go through all of them, guys. I'll try. All right, so okay, so when people are doing small transactions, for example, they're buying something in the US with a Canadian dollar, does that affect the market? The answer is no. Even traders like me, even professional traders, even people who are trading millions on the market, it's not affecting the market. It's too small. When I say the big players and the people who affect the market, they are the banks. And for example, my third mentor, he told me that sometimes he will take a trade of 10 billions in one day on the market. That moves the market, not the little trades. So now we have literally zero impact on the market. And this is also why you need to follow the big players, because if you follow them, since they're the ones who make the market moves, then you're able to also make profit. So how did you go about refining your trading plan? It comes down to understanding how the market moves. If you understand how the market moves, you will be able to create for yourself a strict strategy that you will be able to follow every time and every single trade. So it comes down to really just understanding how the market moves. Does wave theory fall into price action trading? Okay, let me address something about this, guys. When someone says that they're trading the price action, it doesn't really make much sense. You know why? Because what are you trading else, right? When I'm trading this, when I'm buying here, and when it goes up, or when I'm buying, for example, GBP USD this morning, right? I'm buying here, it goes up. What I'm trading the price. So I don't exactly understand or know what you mean by trading price action, but in itself, it's not just something that is like that does exist. You're trading price, and you're trading price on all markets basically. Where did you get the initial capital to trade when you were starting out? You can go on the ReversalMaster website, and by the way, this is one of my mentors, so you can find that on the website. But this is this section right here. I talk about how I made money before actually starting to trade, so you can go read that out. It's a little it's like my biography. Let's say it like that. So you can go check that out on the website. It worked like $9 per hour for summer. That is true. How much money would it take to make a few hundred in a trade? Well, it depends on your risk management, but many thousands. If you have a good risk management, let's put it that way. If you have $10,000 on your account, you're risking 1%, which is $100. And if you're able to, let's say, have a risk management of, a risk reward of 3, 4, 5, well, you will make 3, 4, 500 bucks. So I would say you need a pretty decent capital to make that type of money. Have you been doing more profit than loss since the beginning? Yes, of course. I will not be teaching and doing this webinar otherwise. this is a good question. So when I take a trade, do I just follow the technical analysis, or do I also look at the news? My answer is mainly the technical analysis, because once again, I cannot go too far into this, but the news, the economic news, are not really what makes the market move. Even if that is what they want you to believe, and even if that is when the market, there's huge spikes and huge movement, the market in itself does not move the economic news does not move the market in itself. I'm kind of getting tired, so that's why I'm mixing up the words. But yeah, just think about it for a second. If, for example, we had a huge news, so in 2 hours Donald Trump is dead. Let's say, I just bring that up. So let's say that in 2 hours Donald Trump died, right? Do you think that it will move a lot on the market? Of course it will, of course. But the market will move not because of the impact of the news, because if Donald Trump is dead, and if 5 minutes after he's not dead, like the US economy in itself will not change from that, because it's of course a repercussion that will be there on the long term, but on the short term there will be no change. So why does the market move so big and so hard when there's big news like this? It's because the big players, they will use these news to create emotions on the market and make the market move. But the news in itself is not what is important. It's more about how the reaction of these news. Oh, really? You got hired by RBC in 2011. That's awesome. All right, that's nice. I didn't know that. Thank you, I appreciate that. Will you go to university? Will you like to remain a retail trader, or would you like to work for a bank one day? Honestly, I don't know, guys. This is a good question, but I'm still not sure of what exactly I want to do. I know that it's around, business, trading, things like that, but exactly, I'm not sure. I may go to university because I like studying. Like, I don't believe in, well, I believe in self-education, of course, and I'm doing a lot of self-education, but I also think that school is not as bad as some people want you to believe it is. So I may go to university, I may not, I don't know, not sure yet. How does your classes work? Okay, so basically, ReversalMaster, let me talk a little bit about this, because that's also a question I often get. So basically, ReversalMaster, right, you have 5 hours of personal training. It may change, it may not change, depending on how I want this to evolve in the next weeks, months, but basically you have 5 hours of personal training, which are divided up into 4 sessions. And you also have 20 hours of educational videos, and every week I'm adding new videos. So in a few weeks or a few months, it will probably be around 30-40 hours, because I'm always adding more. But basically how it works, we do one session, I give you the homework, I tell you which video you need to watch, what you need to study, all the things you need to do. So we do one session, you study everything I tell you to do, you prepare yourself, and in the meantime you can of course ask me questions, up on some quick calls and things like that. And after, when the student is ready, we can up on the next session. So there's like 4 personal sessions, but it goes into few months usually, because the student will do one session, he will take the time to review it, study the video, and after we will continue. So that's pretty much how it works. We also have a trading group, that you will be a part if you join ReversalMaster. In this trading group, there is me, and there's also all the students, and it's basically the place where I share with them my trades. So I show them my analysis, my chart, and all of these things, and they can see my trades that I take and all of these things. I'm very blunt also about this. If I have some students on the webinar tonight, they know that they see my losses as well. So even if I lose 1%, 2%, I don't care. I'll say to them, and they will see it anyway. So I'm very blunt. They know all my losses and all my wins. So you can see that as well on the trading group. We also have webinars So something similar to this, well, not exactly, of course, but once in a while I do webinars like this, and I'll start to do more and more because I just want to do more webinars. So yeah, and that's pretty much what you get. You get all my analysis, like I said, past recorded webinars in a lifetime membership, which means that you pay once and you don't have to pay anything else. There is no member fee. You just pay once and you're in as long as I'll continue doing this, basically. Alright, let's continue. Yeah, I'll get over all the questions, I think I can. Why work for a bank on their time when you can trade anywhere in the world for your time? That's not false. That's actually a good thing. But at the same time, it depends on your priorities, I will say. If you value more freedom, that is true. But some people value more money than freedom. That's not my case. But some people value more money than freedom, which is totally fine. Like, there's no problem with that. And if you trade for a bank, usually you have better advantage. And usually traders for banks tend to have better results than retail trader. So there's some good and there's some bad. It just depends on your priorities, I would say. He has weekly reviews of his trade. Every video is available for all members. He posts his trades live and offers 4 one-to-one sessions to train you. Exactly, that's true. That's right. Yeah, exactly. Which platform? I already said it. It's TradingView, and to take my trade in itself, I use MetaTrader 4. So if I'm clueless about the market and its function, he teaches you from scratch, or you need some knowledge. Yeah, the course is, you can start from the total scratch. Even if you have not a single information of what trading is, you can take the course. The first session, and there's videos to explain that as well, but you know, it's the basics, risk management, psychology, how the market moves, how it works, and all of these things. So you can start the course from completely scratch. Yeah. Thank you, Ro. Anthony, changed my life, making money becomes so easy. Well, I'm glad to hear this. Thank you for your support, for being here as well tonight, guys. Thanks to all of you. But I'm very happy to hear this. Do you always start top-down analysis from the weekly chart? Well, since I've been trading for a long period of time now, I know how the weekly chart it is on all the charts I trade. So I don't always go back to the weekly, but yes, you should start on the higher time frame. Yeah, I mainly enter on the 1 hour. There is nothing like double tops, button, or end and shoulder. These are false pattern. I know what you mean, and I know what they look like on the chart, but it's not exactly how it moves. It's more a misconception of how it actually moves. Like, for example, people here they will say, for example, oh, look at this, we have a double bottom, it went up. But that's not really the case. Here, for example, it went up because we were making this correction. So I understand what you mean, but this is more false, or this is, I would say, I think the better way to say it is more, this is not the exact right way to see the patterns. Who is your favorite photographer? Oh, Chronicle, of course. How did you get hired by RBC? I'm not working at RBC. I don't know if I said that, but I'm not working at RBC. I have a mentor that works there, someone who taught me a lot about trading who works there, but no, I'm not working at RBC personally. No problem. Alright guys, so that's pretty much it. I went through all of the questions, so I hope that you guys enjoyed this webinar. Thank you for sticking with me until the end. I hope that you guys learned a lot from that. I hope that you guys got a lot of value. I tried to go pretty, fast and not waste too much time because we're already around 1 hour 30 into this. So it's already a long webinar. So thank you guys a lot for sticking with me, for watching. I hope that you got a lot of value. If you have any more questions, you can always message me on social media. So my Instagram is Anthony Book. So ANTHON, how do I say? Y BOEC, something like that. So Anthony Book. You have my Snapchat also, which is TONYB342. You also have my Facebook and my YouTube, which is just my name, Anthony Bouchard. So you guys can message me on these platforms if you have any more questions. Thank you guys for sticking with me until the end. I really appreciate it. I hope you got a lot of value from this call. So yeah, one last question. Do you focus a lot on strong? There's nothing like support and resistance. That is just not how the market moves. Like I said before, the market moves in terms of wave theory and in terms of pattern, not in terms of support and resistance. But still it's kind of the same thing like double tops and things. I understand what you're saying, but it's not how the market moves. Alright guys, thank you for sticking with me. I wish you a very great night. As always, you can always message me if there's anything you want me to help you with, and I will see you maybe on the next webinar because I want to do more of these. So I'll see you on the next one. Take care.